I wake up to warmth. The scent of lavender and freshly brewed coffee lingers in the air. Sunlight filters through sheer white curtains, casting a golden glow on the room. The soft rustle of fabric accompanies the faint hum of a distant melody. Something classical, something familiar, yet I cannot name it. The bed beneath me is plush, a stark contrast to the dull ache pulsing through my limbs. My body feels heavy, like I've been asleep for an eternity. When I shift, pain prickles at the base of my skull, making me wince. A man sits beside the bed, his eyes locked onto mine with an intensity that makes my breath hitch. Relief washes over his features, but there's something else beneath it. Something unreadable, a shadow hidden in the way his lips curve into a smile. "You're awake," he whispers, his voice rich and soothing yet tinged with something I can't quite place. His fingers brush against my cheek, feather-light. I don't flinch. His touch is gentle, intimate, as though this is normal. As though we do this all the time. But I don't remember. My throat is dry, my voice barely a whisper. Where am I? His expression falters for a fraction of a second before he recovers, his smile warm, reassuring. Too perfect. "You're home, love." Home. The word feels foreign on my tongue, lingering like a whisper that refuses to settle. I roll it around in my mind, searching for familiarity, for something to grasp onto, but all I find is emptiness. I glance around the room, absorbing the details. The soft blue wallpaper, the ornate bookshelves, the neatly folded clothes in the corner. It's beautiful, cozy even. But there's something unsettling about how perfectly arranged everything is. Like a picture meant to be admired rather than lived in. Lucian, his name came easily when he introduced himself, yet it feels borrowed as if I'm repeating something rehearsed, sits beside me, watching me carefully. "Do you remember me?" His voice wavers slightly, but it's barely noticeable, masked beneath warmth and patience. I search his face, tracing his sharp jawline, the tousled dark hair that falls effortlessly into place. He is handsome, familiar in a way I can't explain, yet the connection he speaks of remains just out of reach. I want to say yes, to ground myself in something solid, but the words die on my tongue. Instead, I shake my head, his fingers tighten around mine, just for a moment before he exhales, a soft, almost relieved sigh. "That's okay. The doctor said this might happen." The doctor, an accident, the fragments of an explanation that should bring comfort, yet only deepen my unease. Lucian's thumb traces soothing circles against my skin. "We've been together for years, Adrian, and no matter what happens, I'll help you find your way back to our life." Adrian. The name sits on my shoulders like an ill-fitting coat. It belongs to me, I think, but there is no familiarity, no sense of ownership. Still, I nod, because I don't know what else to do. His smile widens, and for a fleeting second, something flickers behind his eyes. Something unreadable. But before I can dwell on it, he leans forward, pressing his forehead against mine. "I love you," he murmurs. The words hang heavy in the air. They should make me feel safe. But all they do is send a shiver down my spine. Days pass in a gentle blur. He knows everything. How I take my coffee, my favorite books, the way I like my pillows arranged. He tells me stories of us, our trips to the coast, our late-night conversations, the way I used to steal his sweaters in the winter. His devotion is unwavering, his patience endless. And yet something feels wrong. The windows are always locked. The front door requires a key code I don't know. When I ask to go outside, his smile tightens, and he tells me I need to rest, that the world is too overwhelming right now. At night I dream of whispers, my own voice begging, pleading. But when I wake, Lucian is there, brushing my hair back, pressing soft kisses to my forehead, whispering, "It's okay, I'm here, you're safe. You're..." One day I find a photograph. It's tucked between the pages of a book, hidden away like a forbidden secret. In it, I see myself, laughing, happy, but my arms are wrapped around a man who isn't Lucian. A rush of cold sweeps through me. My hands tremble as I trace the blurred face of the stranger in the image. Something stirs in my mind. A flicker of familiarity, a feeling, a scent, a whisper of something lost. My pulse quickens. My breath turns shallow. The air feels heavier. charged with something unseen yet suffocating. A shadow falls over me. Lucian stands at the doorway, watching. He looks at the photograph, then at me. The warmth in his eyes dims, replaced by something cold, something sharp. "You shouldn't have found that," he murmurs, his voice too calm, too composed. My grip on the photograph tightens, as if holding on to it will anchor me, remind me of something real. But before I can react, Lucian steps forward, prying it gently from my fingers. He presses a slow, deliberate kiss to my temple, his lips lingering. His voice drops to a whisper. "I didn't want you to remember." The truth comes in flashes, distorted, fragmented. I see glimpses of another life, one that doesn't include Lucian. The taste of something familiar yet forbidden lingers on my tongue. A name, a place, a moment of happiness stolen from me. Lucian watches me closely now. I can feel his gaze even when he's not in the room. He lingers at the doorway when I sleep, his shadow stretching across the floor. He speaks gently, but there's an edge to his voice, a quiet urgency in the way he reassures me. One night I pretend to be asleep. I hear the soft creak of the door as it opens. The floorboards shift under careful steps. Then, fingers ghost across my forehead, tucking stray hairs behind my ear. "You don't need to remember," he whispers. My heart hammers in my chest. A part of me wants to sink into his warmth, to let myself believe that this is love. But the whispers in my dreams, the echoes of my own voice screaming, pleading, tell me otherwise. He's taken something from me, and if I want it back, I have to play the part. I steady my breath, forcing it to remain even. Escape is not an option. Not yet. So I smile, I nod. I let him hold me, I let him believe I'm still his. I spend my days memorizing the house, tracing my fingers along the walls, learning the way the floorboards creak. At night I listen for patterns, his footsteps, the way he locks the door, the quiet murmurs of his voice when he thinks I'm asleep. Lucian watches me closely. His eyes linger too long, his grip on my wrist firm when he pulls me close. "You're mine," he whispers, his breath hot against my ear. I force myself to melt into his touch, to whisper, "I know." But inside I am calculating, waiting. I study his habits, the times he disappears into his office, the way his jaw clenches when he thinks I am questioning too much, the way he speaks in careful, measured tones, as if controlling a delicate illusion. One night, as he sleeps beside me, I finally allow myself to acknowledge the truth. This is not love. This is a game. A prison built from whispered lies and stolen memories. And if I want to survive, I have to play my role. I have to let him believe he has won. For now. But when the time comes, when I finally piece together what he took from me, I will make him regret ever thinking he could keep me.